Today is one of those 50% days. But to be honest, that 50% is more like 85% now. And if you watched yesterday's video, you probably have a pretty good understanding of why that might be. But let me show you something. Okay, 50% or 85%, that pertains to how I feel about the day. All of this right here, all of this, that's 100%. Regardless of whether it's an 85% day or a 15% day, 25% day, 50% day, it doesn't matter. All of these, I do these things 100% of the time. And that's the point. Okay, that is the main point that I want to drive home with these vlogs, is that you're not always going to feel it. Okay, more often than not, you won't. Let's be real. If you're years into your self-development journey, then you won't want to do the things that you know you should be doing. Simply put. You want to be complacent. You want to lie in bed and watch Netflix, PMO, etc. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble making this bed right now. But anyways, you're going to want to do the things that you know you shouldn't do, and you're not going to want to do the things that you know you should do. 85%. 85% of the time. Especially if you don't feel like those things are working. But regardless of how you feel, you have to do them 100% of the time. There are no days off. I haven't taken a day off since I was born. Basically, bro, I'm gonna keep it real. I haven't taken a day off since I was born. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that as a fact. Okay, that's a retrospective fact. I do not take days off. There are no days where I just sit around all day and do nothing. Sometimes it feels like that when I'm not getting the results that I want, but I never let that stop me from doing what needs to be done, because guess what? The work doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about whether you do it or not. Now, here's the interesting thing about the work. Aside from the fact that the work doesn't care about how you feel, it only cares that you do it. Depending on what work you're doing, the relationship between the work and the results that you're looking for from the work can be one of causation or one of correlation. So what exactly is the difference between correlation and causation in this context? Let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you can see all of the different activities here on my planner. Now, let's say, for example, working out. Working out is an activity where the work and the outcome have a relationship predicated on causation. It's cause and effect. If you put in a certain amount of work in the gym, in the backyard, in your room, wherever, and you eat a certain amount of food, you will always yield a certain result. Assuming that you don't have any sort of underlying condition or disease, thyroid issue, whatever, you will always yield a certain result. Every single time. Every time. Whereas with something like, let's say for example, filming and editing, making these YouTube videos, as you saw in yesterday's vlog, there's more of a correlation relationship, meaning that the work that you do can influence the outcome, but it doesn't always control the outcome directly. Now, of course, there are certain strategies to optimize a YouTube channel and get more views, build the channel faster, etc. But ultimately, when it comes to something like working out, it is completely and entirely objective. There's no subjectivity in working out. The results are directly tied to the work that you put in, and there is never ever a scenario in fitness where you would be better off lying in bed watching Netflix than you would be actually putting in the work. Never. Ever, ever, ever. Whereas with YouTube, YouTube, on the other hand, as I showed you yesterday, I shouldn't even be filming this video right now. I should not be filming this video. Again, this is an 85% day. I don't want to film this video. I want to film it for you, but I know that with every video I film, I'm effectively digging myself deeper and deeper into this hole. So, bearing that in mind, the smartest thing that I could do for myself and my brand right now is to turn this camera off, turn on Netflix, and just start binging it. That's the best thing I can do for myself right now from a YouTube standpoint. That is never, ever true of fitness. Ever. And also with YouTube, that might be the case for me right now, but maybe this video right here goes viral, for all I know. This video goes viral, and boom, exponential explosive growth. With fitness, it doesn't work like that. There is more of a linear growth, where you put in the work and you continue to yield a certain result. Now, of course, when you implement things like creatine, which I'll talk about in a future video, you can get exponential growth, but even that levels off and becomes linear at some point or another. Whereas with something like YouTube, a lot of times it's exponential. So I'm saying this to say that the work won't always yield the result in the same type of way, depending on what activity you're doing. Nevertheless, the work needs to get done. And unless you're going to delegate it to somebody else, you're going to be the one to do it. And you have to be okay with that. Some things you can't delegate. Oftentimes, the causation things are things that you have to do yourself. Especially in the case of something like fitness. When it comes to fitness, you're going to be the one to do it. You are going to be the one to do it. Or, I guess in some instances, maybe with finances or something like that, you can delegate. But with fitness in particular, you can't delegate that. And I think that that's why working out is one of the single greatest self-improvement habits that there is. Because nobody can do it for you. You have to be the one to do it. Doesn't matter how much money you have. You can have a team of personal trainers. You can have a personal chef. Nobody's going to lift that weight for you. Plain and simple. And also, nobody's going to do that meditation for you. But somebody can do that meditation with you, and that somebody is me. That being said, let's go ahead and do our daily meditation. Okay, let's calm our nerves. Let's relax into the moment. Okay, let's relax into the moment. This angle's kind of crazy. Let's relax into the moment and just center ourselves in the day. Because in order to do the work effectively, you have to be present. You have to be here and grounded in the present moment, otherwise the work won't get done, or it won't get done effectively. That being said, close your eyes, focus on your breathing. You can synchronize your breaths with mine if you want. 2 minutes, that's all we need. think that was 2 minutes. So it's sort of come to my attention that I never really explained why I got back on self-improvement, and more specifically, why I started making self-improvement content again. I literally just made a video 2 months ago titled "Self-Improvement is Dead and It's Not Coming Back." And then about a month or two later, I proceeded to start daily vlogging myself doing these self-improvement habits. Now, where did that transition come from? Well, truth be told, the transition isn't nearly as drastic as it probably appears in the context of my channel. And the reason why I say that is because these self-improvement practices are things that I've been doing on and off camera. Right? The only reason why I'm doing these self-improvement vlogs is because that's just what my life looks like. I didn't alter my life to make the vlogs look any different. I simply chose to start documenting the way that my life actually looks. And as of right now, I'm in a season of self-improvement, a season of personal growth. Granted, I do believe that that's a season that kind of runs into perpetuity. There's really no beginning and end of self-improvement. It's a lifelong commitment, a lifelong process. But to my point in some of my older videos, especially some of the videos that I made earlier this year, I have found in life that sometimes you're in a season of personal growth and sometimes you're in a season of personal expansion. And while there can be overlap in that I might be traveling but I'm also working out while I'm traveling, I feel like there is always going to be some sort of priority. You're always going to pick one or the other as your main focus. And right now for me, it's personal growth. And I'm doing it consciously. I'm not so much relinquishing my personal expansion, I'm simply delaying it. I'm delaying it into the future because I know that a season is coming up where that will be my main priority. Pretty much not by force, but by circumstance. I'll be in a situation where I'll have no choice but to expand, and I'll have no choice but to focus on that while simultaneously focusing on my personal growth, i.e. self-improvement. In other words, all of these things that you've seen me do, all of these tasks that you see me doing on a day-to-day basis and that you see me doing in these vlogs, I've been doing them whether the camera was on or off. And as far as the self-improvement content, because I'm choosing to simply document my life, that's how I've chosen to reframe my channel. That's just what the content's going to be, because that's what my life actually looks like. These stretches that I'm doing, I do them every single day. And that's also why my vlogs are probably getting a bit repetitive, is because my days all look more or less the same. Now, something that I find fascinating about that, and this is one of the main takeaways that I want you to have from these vlogs, is that even though the activities, the behavioral patterns, remain the exact same on a day-to-day basis, the feelings and the thoughts about those behavioral patterns change. And they change very drastically. They waver. What I mean by that is, there are certain days which are, to my point earlier, 85% days, meaning that I don't want to do the things that I know I need to do, and I want to do the things that I know I shouldn't do. Whereas other days, maybe some of the 15% days, I actually want to do the things that are on my to-do list, and so I have a more positive attitude as a result, as I do those things. The main point that I want to drive home is that no matter how you feel, the work needs to get done. And you're going to be the one to do it. And more often than not, the majority of the time, you're not going to want to do it. You're going to come up with excuses. And even once you start doing it, you'll come up with excuses as to why you shouldn't do it into completion. Every workout that I do these days, every single workout, when I'm in that backyard, I get through that first set and I'm like, bro, why am I doing 5 sets? I don't need to do 5 sets. That's too much. I'm overtraining. Or just thoughts like that. And I think we all have those thoughts. Right? Nobody's in the gym constantly feeling motivated. And if you are, then hey, props to you. But when we think about a guy like, let's say, David Goggins, for example, David Goggins isn't motivational or inspirational because he always wants to do the work. He's motivational and inspirational because he doesn't want to do the work and he does it anyways. Now, to my point earlier, some of the work has a relationship based on causation with the outcome, whereas other work has more of a correlation-based relationship with the outcome. And I do feel like at times it's good to maybe step back from the work, especially in a correlation sort of situation, something like YouTube. It can be very beneficial to step back from the work and assess what you're doing. Because oftentimes the correlation tasks require a lot more strategy on your behalf. They require more strategy and the same amount of intention that a causation activity would require. Because with causation, once you know what you're doing, you just do it. But with something like YouTube, the goalposts are always moving. You always have to pivot and adapt. Working out, you don't have to adapt. I mean, you adapt by increasing the weight, increasing the general load that you're subjecting your body to, but I mean, even that can be systemized. What I found in at least my personal experience with YouTube is that anytime I've tried to systemize my content, it hasn't worked in my favor. It hasn't worked in my favor because YouTube is every bit as much of a spiritual endeavor as it is a mental endeavor and a physical endeavor. You really have to be in tune spiritually, especially if you're making content like the content that I make, where you're advising many young people, okay, young men, 18 to 24 years old, or even people older than that, or younger than that. You're advising people on how to live life. You have to be spiritually in tune with yourself in order to do that. And of course, there's no way to effectively guarantee that you're always spiritually in tune. You can meditate, you can do things like that, you can gratitude journal, you can have whatever spiritual practice you want, go out and ground, sun gaze, whatever else people do. But you're still going to have those days where you're just not feeling it. You're just not feeling it. You don't feel in tune, you don't feel connected. It happens, okay? And in my experience, it happens more often than not. But one thing never changes, and that is that I do the tasks. I do what I need to do every single day. One of my favorite quotes, I don't know who it's from, but one of my favorite quotes is, "Inspiration will find you, but it must find you working." You can't come up with a YouTube video idea? Turn the camera on first. Turn the camera on first and start talking. And maybe the video comes out, maybe it doesn't, but if nothing else, you'll come up with an idea at some point along the way. Maybe that video doesn't come out, but it gives you the inspiration for another video, and that ends up being the one that takes your channel to that next level. And I mean, I'm living, breathing proof of that you just have to start where you are. Because when I look back at my channel's history, and this also kind of ties into what I was talking about yesterday with the general situation that I'm in with my channel stagnating. I've been in situations where my channel has done that because I had an audience that wasn't attuned to the content that I was making at that time. You see, a lot of people forget, but there was a time, fun fact, there was a time when I went from making public interviews, oh, I know you heard that, to ASMR videos, pretty much overnight with no transition in between. 1 week, it's a public interview or a pickup lines video. I think the next week was why I was deleting social media, and then the next video after that was an ASMR poetry video. And when you talk about your channel tanking, I mean, bro, my channel tanked. I'm talking 20, 30, maybe 40 views a video. 50 was a great day for me at that time. If I got 50 views on a video, I was feeling great about myself. I've been in this position many times over, and I've always prevailed. Why did I prevail? Because I kept doing the work. And even if the work that I was doing wasn't working, it was working on me. That's something that I heard from Myron Golden, shout out to him, is that if the work isn't working in your life, then it's working on you. And for me, it was turning me into the person that I needed to become, a man of consistency and responsibility, and a man who engages in self-improvement actively rather than passively. It turned me into the person that I needed to become in order to make the self-improvement videos, which ended up taking my channel to that next level. In other words, keep going, okay? Just keep going. Whatever it is in life that you're doubting, keep going. You want to write that book, you want to be an author, but you don't know where to start? Start with Google Documents. Open up a blank Google document, start writing down ideas, create an outline. And maybe you get that book out this year, maybe you don't. Well, probably not this year, you only have about a month left. But you get what I'm saying, okay? Maybe that first idea is the one, maybe it's not. Maybe it takes you 5 or 10 books before you become a best-selling author. But you won't know unless you start. And also unless you keep going. But anyways, I'm doing my stretches right now. Like I said, man, I do this every single day, day in and day out, just like everything else in this video and all of my other videos. Lately, I've been kind of emphasizing certain activities more than others, just because I started getting bored from a creative standpoint of making the same video over and over. But I think I kind of want to get back to just showing bits and pieces of every activity that I do. I know this video might not be a good example because I'm pretty sure this segment has been running for a good little minute now. But I think the main thing with these vlogs, one of the main things that I wanted out of these vlogs, not from a number standpoint, but from a creative standpoint, is I wanted to express all different parts of myself. I wanted to reconcile all of these different aspects of myself that I couldn't really reconcile through talking head videos. So for example, working out and poetry. There's no real way to integrate poetry into a fitness video and vice versa. Right? You're kind of in two completely different domains there. But if the vlogs are about me and my life, then nothing is really out of that domain. So whether it be poetry, fitness, traveling, my relationship, doing my stretches, anything else in between. Basketball even, I'm not going to lie, I haven't been watching much basketball lately. I've been busy as hell making these vlogs for you. But, I mean, for me, this is kind of the place where I can be all of myself. And I guess that's another reason why I keep gravitating back towards YouTube, and especially towards the self-improvement niche, is because self-improvement is very comprehensive. If I'm going to niche down, that's probably the best place to do it, because everything that I do can be justified within that realm. So writing poetry, that's a creative endeavor. I feel like everybody on self-improvement should have a creative endeavor that they do. Fitness, self-explanatory. Traveling, I mean, that helps you expand your horizons and really gain more perspective on the world, on yourself, and the life that you've been living your whole life. And just being able to take all of these different aspects of my life and bring them all together with me as the common denominator, I really want to inspire you to do the same thing. Even if you're not going to make YouTube videos, I want you to give yourself the permission. I want you to feel comfortable giving yourself the permission to simply be all of who you are. That's why my whole brand is predicated on being built different. And this is also why I take a slightly different approach to the self-improvement stuff than maybe other creators do. Now, how exactly does my content differ from that of other self-improvement content creators? Well, the answer is simple. Positioning. Okay, a lot of other self-improvement creators, they position themselves as leaders of the next generation. And if you're one of those people, it's not my place to tell you how to operate your brand, but I will tell you how I operate mine. Okay, for me personally, as a self-improvement creator, at least if that's the niche that you want to put me in, as a self-improvement creator, my job is to teach you how to be a leader in your own life. That's the whole point of self-improvement, is to teach you how to become a leader in your own life. How to escape from the matrix and take control of your mind and therefore your life. Bearing that in mind, isn't it a little bit contradictory for me or anyone else who makes these sorts of videos with that intent in mind to ask you to follow me? I mean, if I want to teach you how to be a leader, why would I want you to follow me down the path that I'm walking? It doesn't make sense. So for me, I feel like it makes more sense to position myself as a teacher rather than a leader. I see myself as a teacher who teaches you how to lead yourself down your own path. You see, you should always be wary of somebody who calls themselves a leader, because when somebody is leading you, they can only lead you astray. Because if you're not walking the path that you came here to walk, then you're not walking on the right path. Plain and simple. And of course, you should have people that you can look to for inspiration or mentorship or information, but when it comes to the nuances of your particular life path, only you can understand those nuances. Not your parents, not your favorite content creators, nobody. Nobody in this world understands your life path better than you do. But you have to be in tune with yourself in order to understand that. And the only way that you can be in tune with yourself is to first stop following other people. Okay, when I show you these things that I'm doing, I'm not telling you that you need to do the things that I'm doing. What I am telling you is that you need to figure out your version of these things, and you need to do those things consistently. So, for example, you might not want to do weighted calisthenics, and if that's the case, you shouldn't. Maybe you'd rather hike or play basketball or something like that for fitness. If that's the case, then that's fine, but make sure that you're doing it consistently. Consistency is key. You don't need to write poetry like I do. Maybe you'd rather paint pictures. Maybe that's one of your gifts. Maybe you like to sing. Whatever it may be, you need to do that thing. Okay, you need to hone your gifts so that you can walk your path with all of the tools at your disposal. Now, with me being a teacher, I feel like it's my responsibility to give you as much information as I possibly can, and that is why here in the near future, okay, and you're pretty far into this video, so you deserve to know this, but here in the near future, I will be dropping my very first course. The course will be a NoFap course, how to turn NoFap into a lifestyle. Now, unlike other NoFap courses, this course is a NoFap course, but it's really more focused on the lifestyle side of things. Because one thing that I've realized in the past year, once I fell off the wagon and eventually got back on the wagon of NoFap, was I realized that you can't really expect to do NoFap if NoFap is your primary focus. Okay, you need to focus on the lifestyle side of it and let NoFap be a byproduct of that lifestyle. Now, how do you go about building a lifestyle? Well, it's simple. You get you a planner and you write down all of the things that you need to do, and then you do those things. You systemize your life such that the work always gets done and you effectively guarantee that you move the needle in some way, shape, or form. The problem is that a lot of times you don't know how to systemize your life. I can give you the information in and of itself, but the information might not be enough for you to actually systemize your life. Because now you just have all of these different things that you know, but you don't know how to apply them. It's kind of like going to school and the teacher just teaches you a bunch of stuff, but there's no curriculum. There's no sense of progression or connectivity between the different subjects or the different units of a particular subject. With this course, I'm going to not only give you the information, but I'm going to give you a plan on how to apply it. Okay, I'm going to give you a timeline. I'm going to give you a system. I'm going to help you systemize your life so that you can take control of your life and turn NoFap into a lifestyle once and for all.
And once you've done this, guess what? You are ready to move on. Clicking on start recording, and then you can start recording. See you soon.
I practice what I preach. Okay, I'm not saying that other people don't, but I'm saying that I definitely do. I would not be giving you a course if I didn't truly believe in my heart that it will provide you with all of the value that you'll need to create the systems in your life that will allow you to turn NoFap into a lifestyle. Never trust a teacher who is not a student themselves. Okay, let me repeat that one more time just in case you weren't listening. Never trust a teacher who is not a student themselves. Personally, I'm a student not only of these courses that I'm taking, but also of life. I am a student of life. I'm a student of expansion, a student of growth. And for me personally, what does this look like? This looks like me doing these daily tasks that I've been showing you for the entire month of November. For you, it might very well look different. That's why in my course, I take into account the nuances of everybody's personal, individual path, and I focus on providing you with the principles in every aspect of life to help you turn NoFap into a lifestyle for you. So, I'm not here to tell you how to be like Jordan Green. The best way you can be like Jordan Green is to be the best version of you, because that's what I'm focused on. I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I want to be the best version of me, because I know that I'm built different for a reason. Just like you're